everything I say and do on my computer is captured, screen captured. So if you miss something that I'm saying, you don't even have to worry about it. You just go back and you listen to it again. Where do you find it? I put a link on my website to it. It's also on a YouTube channel. If you're interested, this class has been taught several times before. And I use similar materials each time as well. The URL where you can find all of the recorded lectures is at www.youtube.com/bjhecker. I wanted bhecker, but it was taken. And so my middle initial is J for Jill, so Barbara Jill Hecker, so that's where the J comes in there. So it's BJ Hecker instead of B Hecker, because somebody took it, so I don't know. I thought there was only one B Hecker in the world, but there's definitely more of us out there. So anyway, that's the URL, youtube.com/bhecker. If you look into here, you'll see, actually not right now because it doesn't look like it's loading, you'll see about, I can't remember how many videos I've got, a little bit over 500 videos in here. I've got all the different versions of this class every time I've taught it, on all my other classes as well. I reuse these videos in my online classes, and I also use them in the face-to-face classes occasionally. So anyway, where you're going to get most of this stuff, and let me show you the bhecker.com website actually, is at another URL. So write that URL down if you're brand new. It's youtube.com/bjhecker. That's not as important as this one though. The next one you're going to see is www.bhecker.com. So there's no J in this one, it's just bhecker. BHECKER, which is the same as my email address, which is why I so wanted this for YouTube, but it didn't work out. So bhecker@itu.edu is my email address. I'm probably the only professor here at ITU that actually responds to email. So if you send me a message, I will respond. Usually it's within the same hour, definitely within the same day. It's rare, unless I'm sick or out of town or something, that it would be not the same day. So it's generally a pretty quick response. That works so much better than the telephone, and it also works so much better than trying to find me here on campus, because I'm only here on campus on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm actually in the East Bay on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and I teach at different schools, one of them being Cal State East Bay. So I'm over there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some of you probably have friends who go over there. I don't know. I know that I've seen some of my students over there come over here, and I see some of my ITU students go over there. Yeah, that over there, those undergraduate. Mostly, well, there's a graduate program over there too. But they primarily have a lot of undergrads in computer science over there. And then those undergrads come over here at ITU for the graduate degree. Or sometimes they go back and forth. It's a free country. You know, we can go back and forth to any school we want to go to, kind of thing. But anyway, it's the names are different. The names are different, but the people are all the same. Classes are all the same. Content's all the same. I don't record very much over there because it's kind of hard in those rooms. This is a lot easier because I can put my computer up here and I can stand in front of it and I talk right into the computer. Over there, it's kind of a different room dynamic, and there's a little echo and hollow sounding. It doesn't sound as good, so I don't record. I only record over here. So you guys got the benefit of hearing the originals, I guess. But long story short, this is the website, and this is the website I just have for ITU. I have another website over here for East Bay, but that's not the one you want. You want the one for ITU. That's www.bhecker.com. And bhecker.com takes you to the beautiful one that has the blue stuff on it and stuff like that. And then what I do here is I use this to house all of my course materials. Because semesters come and go, EMS comes and goes, classes all change. I don't have like a central repository where I can stick everything. So I use this website for that purpose. So if you look in the previous courses, you'll see all of the different courses that I've taught here. Actually, nothing's clicking right now. Well, normally when you click on the links, the items open up. So the previous courses, you'd see all the previous courses. Oh, here it goes. There's a little delay. And you click on them as if they were in the current term. I usually put the dates on it when it was last taught. Doesn't really matter. For spring term, I have this class, the iOS class, that we are in right now, that runs from 2 to 4:45. This class will actually run to 2 to 4 something, 4:30ish. Because we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on work, it takes longer. It's more lab stuff. Believe it or not, 2 hours will fly. And then you'll go, what happened? It's already 4? And then, like the last time I taught this course, a lot of students were like, wait a minute, we were like staying until 5:30 sometimes. I am nowhere in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. I have nowhere to go. Today I'll let you out a little early because it's the first day of class. I have this thing, and this is everywhere I teach. It's a bad sign if you keep the class the full length on the first day. Usually means it's like karma. It usually means that's going to be a bad class. Like there's going to be like troublemakers in that class, or you're not going to like it, or something's going to go wrong. We're going to have like a huge earthquake or something. Something weird's going to happen throughout that class. So in order to maintain good karma, I have to let you out early. So we'll be out by 3:30 at the latest. I can't keep you past 3:30. If I do, I'm running the risk of having a bad experience. So anyway, plus we're also missing several people today because a lot of people think that the class starts next week. And I see a lot of people who've come who haven't gotten computers with them, and I'll talk about computers in a few minutes. A lot of people are missing the appropriate hardware for this. So anyway, so we'll get out by 3:30, 3:45-ish, definitely. Not 4 o'clock-ish, no. All right, so down here we have I'm also teaching a Unix weekend class. Most of these are filled already. And I have 2 online classes, data structures class and an Oracle class. I also actually have a Unix online class as well. So I'm teaching that one online and on ground as well. So just in case you're brand new to I2, these are some of the subjects that I teach for future terms. You do want to get in. If you do want to get in, I highly recommend registering early. Registering like the first day of registration. That's how most of you who have been here before got here. You already know the trick, but the brand new people, they don't know this yet. You'll figure it out. If you want to get into anything, actually, anything, not just my classes, but everybody, like Donna Dula is pretty popular. Her classes fill up the first day too. Everybody's will fill up. So, and then it'll be like the, I don't know, embedded systems design or the compiler design theory, all those weird subjects that'll be open for you to take if you don't get in. So, electrical engineering stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to go over the syllabus in a few minutes. It's this link here. If you see down here, it says previous video links, video lectures. This is from the last time. Well, this is from 2012. I got 2012 in here. That was from the summer, or no, that was, yeah, summer version. I got the spring version here from 2012. I got spring 2013. So you can see the class has been taught a lot. The last 3 semesters are in here. That's like a year and a half of classes, actually. It's a lot to go by. It's not all the same material, because here's what happens. Every 2 months we get a new iOS version. We get a new Xcode version. Everything's brand new, and then everything changes. And then for a while we had semi-automatic garbage collection with manual reference counting. Then we had automatic reference counting. Now we got no reference counting. So actually things have gotten easier and easier and easier. So you guys are lucky that you waited a little bit. You got a better version of Xcode. You got a better all-around experience. And I'll talk about Xcode in a few minutes as well, get you all up to date with software. What we're going to happen is we're going to leave today. You're going to have everything you're going to need to read through and look at, install on your computer, and then next week we started writing programs. So we're going to have everything set up today, hopefully. And the setup's pretty easy. I'll go through that as soon as I go through the syllabus. But anyway, so these are the recordings of everything. Some of the tutorials that we're going to go through, if you want to preview this website, not a bad idea, because what you'll see is everything that's in store for you. Do not panic if you are not a programmer. You don't have to be a programmer to do well in this course. If you are a programmer or you have some programming experience, you'll do better. If you're brand new, this is a good way of easing yourself into programming. This is sort of like the first course that I like to have students take before they take Objective-C programming. Unfortunately, I taught Objective-C programming last term. So I have a whole group of students who started out with the hard part 2 of this course, and now they're taking part 1. So you guys will have an easy part. And then I got, the brand new ones who are just taking this. This is a better first course in this type of programming to take. This is the beginning course, and then we have the Objective-C, which is the harder version of this course. That's the next course. So after this course, then you can take Objective-C programming. You'll actually do quite well in it. It's not bad. And then on the flip side, we also have Android and Java, which I also teach here as well. Java is the platform, it's a programming language for the Android SDK, which is all done on Eclipse on a Windows computer. So you can use a Windows computer for that class. This class doesn't work that way for various different reasons. But anyway, so going back to the syllabus and going back to the course structure, and here you'll see the assignments. I'll talk about those in a few minutes. There's 6 of them. And as we go through the course, I'll be doing the assignments with you in the class. So you don't actually have that much out of time, that much weekly stuff, but here you can see the 6 assignments are here. So what you want to do between now and next week is thumb through this stuff, familiarize yourself with the course, and then obviously get your software and your system set up. So the PowerPoint lectures are in here. Over here is the meat. Example projects, this is the meat of the course actually. And within no time, I actually covered, last time I taught this course, I actually covered all of these tutorials. Which means by the end of this course, if you bring your computer and you follow along with the tutorials, which is the best way you're going to learn, plus you won't be bored that way, you'll probably end up with half a dozen, well maybe 12 to 15 working apps that you'll have. iOS apps that you'll have that you'll be able to customize and change around. And there's some fun subjects here. I have a tic-tac-toe game, I have a puzzle game, I have a flashcard game, I've got, and these are stuff that you'll be building in the class. There's a contact list with a SQL database connectivity aspect of it. We have a couple website connection projects. We're going to connect to the website. A lot of services, text messaging, SMS servicing that you'll use on the phones themselves. And a lot of the apps are focused around the content providers, the content of the phone, and also the features, the API. And then also the views, the subviews, the table views, the different types of apps, the multiple views, the tabs, using images, using video, using animation. By the end of this course, over the next 16 weeks, you'll be pretty well versed with a lot of the different development areas. And you'll learn this through following along with all of these tutorials. What I don't do is stand up here and PowerPoint to you. I can't PowerPoint this. This class cannot be done via PowerPoint. So I have some PowerPoints in there, but I usually cover them for 5 or 10 minutes, or I stick a slide up there and I show you something. It's better if you bring a computer, and I see most of you have your computers today as well. Bring your power cord. Xcode will burn your battery down. You say, oh, my computer will last 5 hours. I put mine on, I put the recording software on, it cuts my battery life in half. If I don't plug my system in, it'd be dead within the next 2 hours, 3 hours. And even though it's supposed to last 6 or 7 hours, it won't, because Xcode will eat it up. And the emulators will eat it up, and I'll show you that today as well. But anyway, yeah, so you want to bring your power cord as well. So this is the bhacker.com website. This is the main repository of everything. However, the EMS is also used for this course. The EMS has PowerPoints in there, it has the assignments in there, and it has all the submission deadlines and due dates in there. And I'm bringing up the EMS right now to kind of show you. Let me bring it up right now. www. And this is for the brand new people, by the way. It's not W's, it's just ems.itu.edu. Leave out the W's. When you log in, your review is going to look slightly different than mine. But you're going to get something that looks like this or very similar to it. I actually have to switch it over, I think, to the current term. If I go into my courses and I go into spring 2014, I see here's our class right here. And your review is going to look totally different. Well, a little different. But it looks like we got 48 people in this class. Not too bad. Nice little group. And if I go into assignments, I can see, here's my link here, there's 6 assignments plus there's a final exam. I will tell you from previous experience, you're here again? Welcome back. You're here too. That's good. Seeing a lot of familiar faces. I will tell you from personal experience or from familiar experience, the final exam is worth 40% of your grade. That's where you're going to get the A- or the B+. Seriously. Because I'm going to do all of these assignments with you in class. So you got 60 points of stuff I'm going to practically do for you, which means there's no reason to cheat because I'll be doing it for you. You'll walk away with it. So it saves me down on having to look for plagiarism and issues. This is where, on the final exam, is where I'm going to be able to tell what you've learned. It is comprehensive. It covers everything. The last time I did this course, actually the Objective-C class was the last one taught. I put some programming on there. This class probably won't have as much programming. We'll probably have short answer kind of writing. I know some of your hands are probably still hurting from the last time you wrote. But it's like 2 hours of writing answers to questions and stuff like that. It's a very comprehensive exam. It's meant to be all-encompassing. This is where I'm determining your grade, really. The rest of it is just going through the motions. This is the part that's going to determine your grade. So don't be disappointed if you don't walk away with a complete A in the course, because it's not, if it did, it wouldn't be representing, you know, if you didn't score 100% on that final exam, it wouldn't be representing anything, really. So, anyway, long story short, all of the deadlines for this, and then here's the other part that, I don't know, the administration doesn't really like this one, but I do. It's the last day of the course. It's 4/21. So for the face-to-face classes, I don't give you weekly deadlines or bi-weekly or monthly or anything like that. I just put the deadline at the end of the course, which means you have to have the self-discipline to be able to manage your schedule, your work schedule, everything else. It might take you longer to learn a particular topic. I'm not going to go through all the assignments today, but they're pretty detailed. You might learn at your own pace. If you do learn at your own pace, this schedule works out great, because then you can just upload them into the EMS. You can turn them in anytime you want before the last day of class. The last day of this class is on April 21st. So that's a long ways away, but don't wait until the 21st. If you do, the EMS is going to go down and you're not going to be able to get them uploaded correctly. And I wouldn't wait, because then, you know, this is Hello World pretty much, assignment number 1. Do you really want to be like in April writing Hello World? You know, it's like, wow, did we like do that like months ago? Kind of thing. So as we go through the course, I introduce the assignments. I tell you, and I give you due dates. I say, you know what, you probably want to start doing this one. You want to do this one next. You want to do this one next. We just did this one. We just did that one. And then on those clues, you're supposed to go through and complete the assignment, finish it up, polish it up, put it into the EMS, and then you're done. I don't normally do any of the grading until the end of the course, unfortunately, because the due date's not until the end of the course. If I go through and grade half of them, I have to go back through and redo everything over again. It only lets me go through one time. So it's not, I mean, it won't tell me where the new ones are. It's not very, they're working on it. We might actually see a new interface, actually, by the end of this term. So it might be, they keep saying, hey, we got a new UI coming. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, but this is what the EMS looks like, the heart of it. If you look at some of the other sections on the lessons, you see there's 20 of them in here, but these aren't the tutorials, they're just the PowerPoints. They're not really going to do anything. What I'm going to do throughout the course is go to this website and tell you which one I'm on. So bookmark this website and you'll be in better shape. So let's talk about the syllabus, which is at the bhecker.com website. It's also in the EMS as well. Sorry, this is the boring part of the first day of class, outside of all the URLs and links and stuff. What's the class about? It's about iPhone, iOS programming. So I already see Windows computers. I will tell you right now, you cannot take this course without a MacBook. It is 100% required. Not required today, obviously, but starting next week. It is nothing you can do on a Windows machine. If you have a Windows machine, you can spend the entire term trying to figure out how to get Objective-C to work on it. You might actually be successful with that. I had some people in my Objective-C class who were working with command line interface. They were able to get it through GNU Step, and they were able to get it through the terminal emulators and all that other stuff. Not for Xcode, I'm sorry. You can't run Xcode through a terminal emulator. You can't run it through a Linux box either. And you're going to spend the entire class time trying to figure out how it works. It's worth it to go out there and buy yourself a MacBook. So you're probably wondering, well, what kind of MacBook do I need? So let me just answer some of those questions real quick by going to Craigslist. And I will tell you that I have done this before, actually. not to recommend Craigslist, nor do I endorse it, nor do I think it's safe. Be careful when you buy stuff on Craigslist. One good thing you should know about Apple, which is a very good thing to do, is that each Apple serial number is registered with Apple. Before you buy a computer on Craigslist, ask the person for the serial number. If they don't want to give you the serial number, there's probably something wrong with it. It's probably stolen, something wrong with it. You go to the Apple website, you paste the serial number in there, they'll tell you if it's been stolen or if it's okay and who it's registered to. So it's like checking before you buy it. You don't want to buy a stolen computer. You also don't want to buy a broken computer either. So when you get the computer, make sure you turn it on. Make sure it actually works. What kind of computer do you need, however? I'd recommend either a MacBook Air. If you're looking for a computer, you don't own one yet, buy an old Air or buy an old MacBook. I saw one here earlier, a white one. That one works. The MacBook, without the MacBook Pro. 2007, 2008 works out just fine. If I just, seriously, I'm going to show you because no one believes me. You can get one for $200 or $300, $400. Maybe $400. Just don't go out to eat every night of the week for a couple weeks, a couple weeks. You'll be able to afford this computer. So don't tell me they're too expensive. So if I come in here and don't get a Pro. You don't need a Pro. You need a MacBook. If you want to go a little bit higher up for a couple $100 more, actually I have three. I've bought for previous students. I'm not gonna go search. I don't have the time right now. But in the past, I've looked at ads. If you want to send me an email message with the ad, say, hey, I'm thinking about this computer. Do you think this one's a good one? I can look at the specs and tell you if it's okay or not. In the past, I actually went out and found systems for people. I just don't have the time to do that anymore. So you find the system, you send me the specs, I'll tell you if it's okay, if you want that double check for it. But you don't need a Pro, is what I'm saying. You can just do a MacBook. If you do a MacBook, what you're looking for is at least 2 gigs of RAM. Do not go below 2 gigs. Doesn't matter. In fact, I don't even have. I have 10.8.5, which is Mountain Lion. You don't need the Maverick. Don't upgrade your system to Maverick either for this course. If you upgrade an old system to Maverick, you're not going to like it. I'm sticking because I have an older computer. I have a 2008 actually. In fact, where do I get this information from? Here, no, I have a late 2012. I have another one who's a 2007 computer, actually. I rotate between my computers, and I have 2 MacBook Airs. One of the MacBook Airs is a 11-inch. I bought it for $300 on Craigslist. So I know it's possible. I know it only has 2 gigs of RAM on it. Now, personally, you want a nice system, 4 gigs of RAM. This puppy's got 8 gigs of RAM on it. That's because I use this every day. If you're trying to buy a system just to have this class for, or just to use for development, or as an extra computer, you don't need 8 gigs of RAM. 4 gigs is enough. 2 gigs is the bare minimum. You can probably buy a system here. If I go here let's go here 4 gigs. Here's one for $375. I put in GIG, which is probably the problem. But it's a MacBook 13-inch. That one would work for you. $375. So don't tell me you can't afford a MacBook. The older ones are affordable. If $300, $400, because really you got to figure probably about $400, $450-ish for the bare minimum. And then you could buy a nicer system. Don't spend more than about $400 or $500 for it, because you can buy a brand new one for $900. You could buy a brand new one. This one here actually was $895 or something like that, back when it was brand new. They don't go for more than $1,000. I don't know what you paid for yours. They do? All right. Well, no, this is stripped down. I don't have the big SD card on it. So if I change the specs a little bit here, you don't need a huge hard drive either. Yeah, here's one here actually, 2.5 i5. So this is, go for the Core Duos instead, the cheaper ones. I mean, I don't know, I'm not going to spend too much time shopping around for these suckers, but here's another one, downtown San Jose, MacBook Pro, excellent condition. How come there's no price on this? I don't know. No price, $440 for this one here. This one's got 4 gigs. If you can do it, I'd do the 4 gigs. if you really want a nice system, I do the 8 gigs. An 8 gig system is probably going to run you about $500 or $600. This is used pricing, by the way. This is used, hopefully barely used. All right, so what do you need to do once you get the MacBook? And I'm going to close this here. There we go. Once you get the MacBook, you got to update. If the MacBook does not come with Xcode on it, you got to update the operating system to get the Xcode. Because here's the problem. You can't download Xcode for any OS that's prior to Mountain Lion or Lion. You can still do for Lion, you can still do for Mountain Lion, you can certainly do for Mavericks, but they don't support it below that. So what you do, so I'm giving homework to people. Between now and next week, if you're going to go out and get yourself a MacBook, the best of all worlds is that it already has Xcode on it. That'd be nice. So how do you figure that out? You come up here to the Spotlight, you type in Xcode, because a lot of you guys are going to be brand new Mac users. If you type in Xcode, I spelled it, Xcode, there we go. I see I got Xcode on here, and I clicked on Xcode, and it's going to bring up Xcode for me. And I see this little window that says, welcome to Xcode. If you can't do that, you don't see that one, then go into the Go menu, go to Applications. This is for brand new Mac people, because I get a lot of brand new Mac people in this course too. Go to Applications and look for an Xcode icon. Here's one right here. The program that we're using, and the only program that we can use for this course, is called Xcode. Do not buy Xcode. Xcode is free. And Xcode is not downloaded from a third-party website. It's from the Apple Store. So number one, you find your computer, you get your computer. Hopefully it has Xcode on it. If it doesn't have Xcode on it, your job gets a little bit more complicated. Because now you got to go over to the Apple Store. So if you go into software, what I did is I closed that window for a second there. I clicked on the Apple button over here. And I clicked on Software Update. Click on Software Update. If you've got Snow Leopard or Leopard, if you buy one of those $300 computers, unless they upgraded it, it's probably going to have Snow Leopard or Leopard. Leopard or Snow Leopard is very old, not supported on Xcode. However, you're in luck, because Mountain Lion, the Lion and Mountain Lion, excuse me, run better on the older software, or excuse me, older hardware. So you can take and rejuvenate a really, really old computer by getting rid of Snow Leopard and putting on Lion or Mountain Lion. Mountain Lion is actually better. It will actually run faster than the old software that you used to have on there, which is actually kind of interesting. So, general question I get is, what version of Xcode do we have to run for this course? Any version that you can possibly get your hands on. If you have a Leopard system or a Snow Leopard system, you got lucky. It has Xcode on it. Leave it alone. Just use it for the course. You can use the older version of Xcode. That's not going to be a problem. Only problem is you'll have a little bit more work because you'll have more menu options because Xcode changed. You cannot upgrade Xcode on that computer. You have to go with the older version of Xcode. Yeah? I'm sorry? Yes, I'm sorry. So you have to use the old version of Xcode. Old version of Xcode is just fine. You don't have to use the most current one. However, if you go to the Apple Store, and you'll find, if you come over here, you've got an old version, and you type in Xcode, this is where you're going to find Xcode from. You're going to see Xcode over here, and I see that it has been installed. So if it's not installed on your computer, you just click on the link. It's about 2 gigs. It downloads and installs. So you got Snow Leopard. You don't want to upgrade Mountain Lion for some reason. You don't want to do it. Then you could go out to BitTorrents, which is not very safe, and out to third-party websites. You can get yourself a very old version of Xcode that might work, but there's no guarantee that the compatibility is going to be there or that the install is going to work. Because Apple Store will not distribute the older version of it, you have to get it through other means. If you have it through other means, go for it. You want to make your life easy, then upgrade to Mountain Lion, or Lion or Mountain Lion. So think, well, okay, what am I going to have to pay to upgrade to Mountain Lion? It's $15, 15 or 20 bucks. It's worth the expense. You get where do you get that? From the Apple Store. So you log in and you type in, well, let's just type in Lion actually. You type in Lion and you'll see Mountain Lion up here. Actually, I'm in the wrong category, but you'll see it in here. You download it, it's a self-extracting file. Download, you install it, and it works, and it upgrades your operating system. If you have individual questions on your software, let me know. You got a brand new computer, you just came here today, you got a brand new computer, look for Xcode. If Xcode's not on the computer, type in Xcode in the Apple Store. While you're sitting here on the Wi-Fi of the ITU system, download Xcode. It's not going to touch anything on your computer, it's not going to worry about anything. It just downloads it and then installs it when it's done. It's going to take about an hour for that to download. So if you're bored right now, download it. If you don't have it already, if you have it already, you're in great shape. So you got it installed?
I forgot my Apple ID.
You have to know your Apple ID. Okay.
Windows computer.
All right. When you get your Apple ID, it's free. You just have to be able to sign in through your Mac account. So, yeah. All right. But anyway, so those people who don't have their Apple ID with them and don't know how to download Xcode, you could do it between now and next week. We're going to start working with it next week. So download your Apple ID, whatever. There's no cost for this Xcode, by the way. It's free. Another thing you might not actually be aware of is now you get Word, PowerPoint, and Excel for free as well. Yeah, Pages. If I go into the purchase software, it's Keynote, Numbers, and Pages. On a compatible upgrade, they gave away, well, it's because I bought this computer actually. I don't know if it's available for everybody, but when you upgrade your computers, sometimes they give you stuff. And the last giveaway that they gave me was a Keynote, Numbers, and Pages. It was just Microsoft Office. So if you're brand new to Microsoft, jeez. If you're brand new to the Mac, your first MacBook you bought on Craigslist and you're trying to figure out how in the world do I make this thing work, you get Keynote. If you upgrade to Mountain Lion, you'll get Keynote, Numbers, you'll get Pages, which means don't buy Microsoft Office. You don't need Microsoft Office, you get the compatible programs, and actually that's what I'm showing you here. This is Pages, Microsoft Word compatible, free. So, all right, and there's a bunch of other good stuff in there too. So. But you don't need Mavericks. I do not have Mavericks. I don't show you Mavericks. In fact, the version of Xcode is the same for Mavericks as it is for Mountain Lion right now, so I didn't bother upgrading. I'm not a fan yet. All right, so now that I got to pass the technology part of it, let me talk about a little bit more about the syllabus, going back to the syllabus. I told you this is the boring part for today. This is the introduction to the course. So what we're looking at is building iOS applications, iPhone and iPad. You don't need to own one of these devices. However, if you do own one of these devices and you want to see your apps work on it, then about halfway in the middle of the course, probably not for about 3 weeks or so, bring in your device. I'll tell you which day to do it on. I set you up for a developer account on the ITU system. So Apple has a student developer account for ITU students. It's free, which means you can run your apps on your phone or on your tablet. And I'll bring it in, I'll demonstrate how to do it, and we'll sign people up. Not going to happen for 3 or 4 weeks because half people don't have computers yet. As you get your computer, you start working with it, you figure out, oh, iPod Touch. Oh, look at that. Someone gave it to me. And everyone wants to see their apps working on a real device. Well, in order to do that, you have to pay Apple $99 a year if you get your own personal developer account. You don't have to do that. You can get a student developer account through ITU. Free. But you have to have a device and you have to have a Mac computer. It doesn't have to be current. But it has to be, essentially, you have to basically bring it in and we set you up. So I'll wait till about 3 or 4 weeks before we get into that. Not till about February or so, when people get settled. So you'll be able to see it. Otherwise, what ends up happening is you have to use the emulators. I'll show you the emulators today as well as we look through Xcode. And I'll show you the templates as well that we'll start with. But long story short, we're looking at iOS, iPhone application development. We're also looking at an introduction to Objective-C. Not a programming course. Nothing near to what we did last term with Objective-C. This is nothing like this. This is all the fun stuff. It's all GUI stuff. However, it's nice to know a little bit about Objective-C, especially to understand the syntax. It's a programming language to be built. Uses all of the Apple products use Objective-C on it. Even the operating systems, everything uses. So OS X and iOS both use it. So it's not a bad language to be familiar with. We'll also look at multi-touch and touch control, accelerometers, GPS, maps, dialers, all sorts of different things. I'll wait for that. I'm not going to go through the course learning outcomes, but this is what we're looking at. Being able to build apps is the primary goal of this course, and use the features of the phone. I don't have a textbook. I do not have a textbook for this course. Instead, what I have is a bunch of PDF files that you could possibly download and take a look at. And they're old texts. They're not old textbooks. They're textbooks, actually. Most of them are sort of current. If we go into bhacker.com and we look at it, usually I have it. Let me make sure it's here. If it's not here, I'll bring it for next week. Usually I put it, it's not in here. I will put it in here. I'll put a link in here to a website that I like to use that gives you about, I don't know, 30 to 40 iOS books. There's a million of them out there. One problem is what I was saying before, is that every 2 or 3 months there's a new version of Xcode out. So all the books change. So anyway, they make the older versions available, most of them for free. It's a free website to download PDF files. You don't need a book. You don't have to do any reading for this class. Most of what you'll be doing is hands-on, creating projects and working with tutorials. And I'll give you the tutorials and give you the projects, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So any iOS version works, any iPad works, but it's not required. I'm going to show you the emulators in a few minutes, where we'll run most of our programs, well, all of our programs, essentially. Grading policy. I've got to show you this, because this is what the most part of the first day of class is about. 60% is on programming assignments, 40% is on the final exam. So as I mentioned before, we have 6 programming assignments. They're all worth 10 points each. That's a no-brainer. You guys should be able to get those. So, do we have any questions on the syllabus for the course? Yeah? I feel like I went through it kind of fast. Any questions about the needed technology for this course? No? Any questions about anything that I covered so far before I break into an introduction to Xcode, which is coming next? No? Okay, well, you can always ask me questions after the class as well. So what I do is I try to break the videos out. So I'm going to stop this one and start another one on our first lecture, which is the introduction to Xcode. So this was kind of the summary of the class. This is the stuff you get on the first day.